Dude, I'm in such a weird way today.
Oh,
Like,
good. In a good way or a bad way?
pretty good. Yeah, pretty good, but pretty different.
Pretty weird.
So, pretty weird, pretty heady, like up in the cloudsy, you know?
Ah,
And so like I'm on day 7 of like this Ayurvedic cleanse that we did a part of my school. So like this was like my weekend was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this past weekend. And like we started, and so like the 3 days before that weekend were like the setup, like you start cutting out like caffeine and sugar, like a little bit a day at a time, like 25% or 30% the first day, 60% the second day, and kind of steer. So then the 3 days of the weekend, you just eat like khichdi and like just these very Ayurvedically balanced foods to like make
what
your
is
digestive
khichdi?
system. It is like a mixture of like basmati rice and yellow mung dal and like a lentil. And then you
Mm.
can top it with like very, very easy to digest like vegetables and things, or like carrots or sweet potatoes, or to kind of like top it. But you basically eat khichdi for every
That
meal for 3
sounds
days.
pretty tasty, though.
It's pretty bland.
Yeah.
It's very bland. Like there is like a
Mm,
khichdi seasoning. It's like turmeric and ginger, but you're not supposed to like overload it,
mm.
with it. But like you eat that for like 3 days. And so I completed my last khichdi day yesterday, and today's like my day to stair step back in. So I'm like on day 7, counting like the first cutout days, then the 3 peak days. And like, so you do this for 10 days total or not. I don't know. I don't even remember anymore. But I'm so like the first few days I felt it, like my body reacting and being like clean. And now my body feels really good, but my mind feels like about every 30 seconds somebody takes like a soapy rag across it. And it's like I can't think and I lose my track of, and it's like it feels good. It's hard to explain, but it's like my brain is being scrubbed clean and I can't, because of that, I'm just kind of like waiting. It's
Are
the
you like
weirdest feeling.
on pause mode?
Yeah, well, and like I've just been kind of floating around, and like also too, I was very exhausted. Like I was like 8 hours of yoga, collective physical yoga over the weekend, and then like the rest of it is like you sit and we sit on the floor, which I do like because like that's something that we just don't really do here in the West very much, and it shows with like our stiffness. But like, you sit on the floor for the rest of it. But we did a lot of yoga and we were doing this cleanse at the same time. And they're fantastic weekends. I love them so much. And they're just full of like smiles and laughter and yoga and just connection. And it's great. And it almost has the same Anahata's purpose crash,
Mm, mm.
except now it comes with the physical crash of every muscle in my body. Because every other weekend, it's like a region, like, like my hip and groin region being sore or like, whatever. This one was like my whole body. Every muscle was like a 5 out of 10 sore. So it wasn't agonizing, but it was like my whole body. And so yesterday I just laid on the couch all day. I took a hot bath and then
Nice.
laid on the couch all day and just like watched the midnight mass and just like did nothing. And so today I
Great.
feel good physically, but it's like I wandered out in the garden to make sure the greenhouse was still there for one. And like clipped some greens and just kind of dug around, and I've just kind of been aimlessly wandering all day, but like
Great.
happily.
I love it. When you were talking about doing all the yoga, 8 hours of yoga over the weekend and just changing the I'm like, how are you not shaking and sick right now?
Well, I eased into it.
But you were already on a pretty you were probably on a different path, I think, than say the average Joe who has to cut out caffeine and
Yeah, the
sugar. I
adjustment for
feel
me wasn't that bad.
right. Yeah.
It was the not having dairy was difficult. And
Mm.
what's weird though
Oh,
is that I've not had dairy now for like 4 days, and like today I was, cuz I'm supposed to start adding things back in today, and I had like a little bit of khichdi cut with like some like vegetable stew that Hunter made that had like still vegetable based, but it was like peppers and tomatoes and kind of things that I
mm,
haven't consumed. And like I mixed that and I was like, ooh, like, I thought last night, like, man, I'm going to top like my lunch with like a dollop of sour cream because I love sour cream. I put sour cream on
mhm.
everything. And I like reached into the fridge and I pulled it out and I set it on the counter. And then immediately I was like, I can't handle that. Like it was like the taste, because I've been on such bland food. I was like the taste of the punch, like this tartness. I was just like,
Yeah.
I can't do it. And so I didn't. I like couldn't open up the container and put it on my food. It was weird. It's really
It
weird.
sounds almost like what they put you through if you're trying to find like your allergens.
It's kind of an elimination diet. Yeah, in a way. Because like in Ayurveda, so much of your health and your vitality comes from the health of your digestion and your digestive system and your digestive fire or your agni. And so it's like, this is, you essentially eat really easy to digest
Baby
foods
food.
and it allows your body then to burn away your ama, which is toxins all in your body and things like that hang onto your organs, things that coat your colon, just like the general like gunk that can build up in your body from how we live our lives, like, processed foods, just like stress can build on, like, and so that's a big thing of Ayurveda is ama, your toxins. And so this just burns away your toxins. And like, I feel really good, and you eat enough calories. It's not like I'm lightheaded because I haven't eaten enough. I'm just like, it's hard to explain, but I feel like my brain is just being soaked up. It's weird. And it's like, I just know that I'm going to wake up tomorrow and feel done. It's like I'm not sore today anymore. That part's worked out. And it's just like, I know tomorrow I'm going to wake up and this brain, I'll feel super sharp. But today, like the paint's still drying.
Have you got the paint is still dry? Have you spoken to your fellow classmates? How are they faring?
We were all having about the same symptoms during the weekend, because there was an adjustment period, like several of us, like there was some like, your tummy just kind of reacts like almost the food is so sensitive. Your stomach's like, what the hell? And it's like, so it's still reacted a little bit. But like, for instance, like on Saturday, it sounds like the whole class pretty much that night went to bed at like 9 p.m. at the latest.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody went home and everybody passed out. So it was interesting. Like, and different doshas, like, I'm Vata dosha, and like the other Vatas in the group were experiencing the same symptoms, and like Pittas. It was like interesting to see it all work out Ayurvedically as it's supposed to, with like the doshas reacting as they totally would. But it was super, super interesting. But yeah, it's got me in a weird, like my notes, like I finished them up. Thank goodness I started them previously, but like I wanted to like tie them all together today because they were kind of loose or like scattered around. And it took me so long. Like that's like a little tie-up job to just get it all organized and put in the right, that will take me 20 minutes just to clean it. I was there for like an hour and 20 minutes. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't.
You're just like zoning out.
Yeah, I would get distracted and then like go do this, or like, oh, the dogs have been out. I'll give them breakfast, and I would get distracted and play with Dinah for 20 minutes. And then like, it's just like, it took so long to do. And I feel like it's still kind of a mess. And my communication today, I just feel like it's going to be weird. So
love it.
Everybody get ready for that. This is
happy about it. Yeah, it reminds me, and it's not exactly the same because it's, two different things going on, but it reminds me of the what did we call? I forgot there was some name that people gave it, but it was like the sickness, like the student sickness when you go through massage therapy school and you get to the like practical part of the school where you're actually giving and receiving one massage every day to practice and receive it. And that sounds great. Like right now, it's like I've forgotten that whole process, because right now I'm like, oh, I'd love a massage every day. But like that stirring up of all that like shit in your blood and in your body.
Yeah.
Every single day. And you can drink a lot of water, dude, but there's no amount of water that's going to flush you out for a massage every day. So it was funny that like 2 weeks into the practical part, everyone just felt like shit for like a couple of days. And it was good to not go through that alone.
Well, right. And it's neat because it's validating, like you hear all of these things, like all of these benefits, like both of yoga and Ayurveda and massage and like all of these things. And they always say, like drink a lot of water, it pushes out the toxins. Like, and you're like, yeah, whatever. I know, I hear that. But like when you actually experience it, because I know that's another part of it, it's like, because this weekend, like every night was different, but like Friday night, we did like a million fucking chaturangas. Like we did so many like sun salutations. And and like we did a whole bunch and everybody was like their upper body was sore. We did so many. And so like Saturday, we did like not as I think there was like only like 2 or 3 hours like on Saturday, but then we practiced a whole lot on Sunday and like had this big workshop at the end where we did assisting, which was super awesome, but also like a whole thing. And so it was just like every muscle was sore, which means every muscle was wrung out. And all of that while being on this cleanse that's made to burn away toxins all happened at once, and so it's just like, I feel like I've been in a bit of a flu almost the past couple of days. And it's like, it feels good. Hot. No, luckily nothing like that. I never got achy in the sense of like, that kind of achy, joint achy, but like just kind of done.
Achy joint achy is a country song.
Oh, I like how it's not like achy heartbreaky. Oh, no. I don't care about you. I'm just achy joint achy. It's like, nothing to do with you.
It's like the elderly cover version of Achy Breaky Heart.
Yeah.
It's dumb. So anyway. I'm glad that it's going well. I'm glad that you're doing okay. I'm glad that your brain feels like it's in a car wash.
It does.
Wonderful. I think it'll make for an interesting episode. I love when Macy has dumb brain.
It is dumb brain. I have dumb brain and it makes me nervous.
It doesn't happen a lot, which is, it's nice and refreshing to witness. Dude, speaking of dumb shit, I have to tell you of a dream that I experienced.
Yes. Oh.
And I sure hope that you like this. So for reasons that I won't go into, because it's always crazy listening, like when I say crazy, it's always a little crazy boring to listen to a full ass dream. But for reasons I won't get into, I was dreaming that I was managing the band Guns N' Roses.
Sweet.
Now this is fucking prime time 80s Guns N' Roses.
Okay, so Axl Rose looks like a Greek god in his little pants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Little svelte serpentine thing moving around.
Yeah,
and
little hips way.
Well, here's the thing. In my dream, he got in some trouble, some big time, like cancel culture trouble.
Axl.
Like he got in trouble. Axl. And he had to leave. And I had to replace the lead singer of Guns N' Roses. And I did my best. I looked everywhere and I found I found the perfect replacement for Axl Rose of Guns N' Roses, and in walks Rick Moranis.
Oh, God. Okay. That's even more than I could imagine. I don't know who I thought, but that's so much more than I could imagine.
And I don't know why. But it wasn't just any Rick Moranis. It was like Little Shop of Horrors in a prime
time Rick Moranis.
Tiny little baby boy Rick Moranis. And
did he have the voice of an angel?
No. Oh. He had the voice of Rick Moranis.
Poor.
All my life. And that's the whole dream. And listen, this happened a few days ago. And I can't stop thinking about it. I can't.
It makes sense to me though, because it's fusing two things that we have just discussed or been around recently together.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it makes total sense. But it makes silly. No fucking sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm glad to get that off of my chest.
I get that, dude. I've been having crazy dreams lately, and I don't usually dream that often or retain them, but every night I'm having wacky ass dreams. And I had one.
It's your diet.
Scary. Maybe so. But I've been having kind of spooky dreams. Like I don't usually have spooky dreams, but I did have one dream where we all got blown up, which sucked. But
hold on, who's we all? Everyone in the world?
No, well, I don't know. I mean, no, I guess not. But everybody who lives on this property.
Oh shit, dog.
Yeah, and it was weird too. Like, all right, so the dream was short. I don't remember much about it, but I was up at Mom's house, and there was like a little party going on, like a little social event. You know, she likes to have little gatherings and whatnot. And so, like, a lot of us were up there, and it was dark. And everybody was inside just kind of talking in her living room. And I was looking out of the window, the double window that's by the bar, you know, and I was looking out of that window. And then I remember hearing this like plane sound. And then I remember hearing like a whistle sound, like a cartoon falling sound. And so, like, what's weird though, and it's weird how, like, in a dream, you can have an immediate understanding of a context that isn't real, but like, of like what's going on. So it was kind of what made it spooky was that as this was fall, and I remember in the dream being like, that's not normal. That's a strange thing. That's not a good sound. There was like an electronic female voice, and it sounds kind of silly in retelling it because it is, but in the dream, it was super dystopian and scary. And it was just like a voice that was attached to the bomb that just went bomb, 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 bomb. And it got louder as it was falling. And then this bomb exploded, and we didn't know where because it was dark. And I could see through the darkness the shockwave coming, and it was like taking out the trees. And it was just like fucking Terminator 2. I know that's where this came from. That scene traumatizes me. And I know it. I've never gotten over it. And so it like it hit, and everything went dark in the dream. Everything went dark, which I die in my dreams all the time. I really hate it. I die all the time. People say they don't. I die all the time.
You can't die in your dream.
Sure as hell can. And I died, and we all died. We all were obliterated. And like we floated around in this space.
Creepy.
For a minute.
Creepy.
And then came back. And we all snapped back into this room and just looked at each other like, what? And then I woke up.
I have feelings. I feel like this is something that happened in another reality.
Well, it's very timely to things going on in the world right now, and I think that's why it was on my mind, is because I've just been keeping up with what's going on with the conflict and whatnot in Ukraine, and so it's like I think it's just fresh, because that shit's happening there every day.
Every day. I know. I went out to breakfast the other day, and they had the news on, and I was just looking at all these headlines. And I know that this isn't news to anyone. I know, but this was a few days ago, and keep that in mind. Anyway, but the person I was with, I looked at them and I was like, these are war crimes, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, big time. Big bad boy stuff.
Like, this isn't normal shit. Like, this is like actual war crimes. And I know that we know that now. But at the time, I remember just being like, this is not.
Yeah,
anyway,
this is not normal.
Good God. I like that the bomb was polite enough to announce itself.
It was so creepy though, because it was like a feminine voice, but it wasn't polite. It was just a flat bomb. And it was so weird. It was so weird. The whole dream was so weird. And I've been having weird dreams, but most of them were kind of silly. Like I had a summer camp dream, like I've had a bunch of happy dreams too, but they're all very colorful and vivid. And that's not standard for me.
come to think of it, I've been kind of having the opposite. I have creepy dreams. I wouldn't say nightmares, but I have creepy dreams all the time. But lately they've been fucking Guns N' Roses and Rick Moranis. And I'm happy with that.
I'm glad. I'm really glad, because that's a treasure.
Yeah. Can you imagine it? Can you imagine him dressed up in that little headband and the little tight pants?
Oh,
cute.
They'd be such tiny pants.
Oh, it'd be tiny little pants with this little tiny pudgy belly.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay. Well, what are we talking about today?
Shit. Yeah, 19 minutes in. It's going to be one of these episodes.
Oh, yeah.
I say it every time that we have one of these episodes. Feel like we haven't had one of these in a while. So,
all right, let's do it.
All y'all. Alrighty.
Oh, wow.
I'm talking about Aura Quartz. So you've probably seen it. And there's different kinds. There's different kind of variations and colors, but I wanted to look into it because I've always just kind of assumed it was a scam, and it is not. There's some really cool stuff going on with that. So I'm excited to talk about it, but it looks very fake.
Unicorn. Yeah.
So that
I Googled it. I Googled it to see what it was. And this is absolutely 100% something that I would see at a store and go, now, why would they ruin this with this fake paint or whatever?
Well, that's how I felt. And I'm really, I'm glad that I looked into it because I've totally had a flip-flop opinion
Oh,
on the Aura Quartz because of how it is created and whatnot. It kind of, it changes it to me. It's kind of an alchemical process that goes
lit.
on. That's more than just like what I assumed, which was somebody putting like clear fingernail polish on it and
Yeah.
baking it in the oven or something. Like I didn't know, but you know.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm talking today about nothing well, I don't want to say nothing in particular, but I have a spiel here that I want to say. So this is a little bit of a different episode for me, topic wise, because I do feel that the episodes that I bring a clear cut topic, um, they're researched, and I refer to my notes, and I feel like the episodes are a little bit. Or the episodes that are a little bit more conversational in nature, I only keep a few notes, just to make sure that I make points that I wanted to make, or that I have a very, very basic outline to try to keep myself on track. However much that works is up to you. But this one is different in that it started as a conversational topic, just something loose to kind of talk about, which actually seems kind of nice for today, but it branched out into something different. So loosely, what I want to say is I'm talking about the order of operations within witchcraft, and that'll make sense, I guess, when I get into it. But it kind of, I ended up making notes and spending probably about the same amount of time that I would spend on a topicked episode.
Mm.
And it just began to be it began as something that I thought was interesting, and I wanted to hear other people's input on it. I wanted to hear your input on it, and it still is that. I'm still interested in hearing everyone's thoughts and the way that they approach this particular thing. But towards the end, it became something a little bit different, and it has a little bit of a shadow work tunnel that I fell down. So that with that, I want to kind of fade from that into our Patreon shout out segment.
Okay, I still don't know what you're talking about, but all right.
Yeah, you won't until I get into it. When I say order of operations, what I mean is
PEMDAS.
Order what?
PEMDAS.
Yes, exactly. God, I will never forget that. PEMDAS. Anyway, what I mean by order of operations is I recently found out that not everybody thinks in steps. And I've heard of this term called step thinking. And it blew me away, honestly. I heard someone say that sometimes when someone has this idea, when they say, I'm going to go to the store, that's all they think. They're just like, I need to go to the store, point blank, right? But to me, and other people who have more of a step, they think in steps, it's more like and I'm using the direct example from who I saw say this, but it's like I have to get a shower, then I got to get clothes on, then I got to get in my car, drive there, go to the store, do my shopping, come back, bring it all. You know what I mean? It's just a difference in the way that you think.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that you think in steps?
No.
Really?
No, not in individual actions. Like I'll do that with my day, but when it comes to just doing things, I just decide to do them. Like if I need to go to the greenhouse, I go to the greenhouse. If I need to go to the store, I go to the store. And I will consider where they fit in the day, and be like, well, if I need to go take this vinyasa class at 4, that means I need to get XYZ done beforehand. Like I'll do that, but then it's like I'm just gonna go.
See, and I'll do that on a larger scale, like figure out when I need to do things. But to me, I was thinking about how far this extends, and even something like if I were to be like, hey, Macy, pause. I gotta go pee. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It wouldn't just be like, I gotta pee, then I come back. Like in my head, what's already happening is I gotta walk to the bathroom. I know the light's off. I gotta turn on the light. I gotta pee, which, then I gotta wash my hands, and then I'll come back here, get comfortable, and then we'll start recording again. Like, and all of that is already starting to unfold. And it's exhausting, sure, but it's not as, I don't know, terrible as it might sound. Mm-hmm. It's an unconscious thing that my brain does. you know, and that there are some people who think like this and there are some people who don't. And of course, probably everything in between, right? I mean,
sure.
I'm sure that you think about insteps in some ways or about things that I don't necessarily.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and everyone's different, yada, yada. But it really put me on thinking about my craft and how that affects me and what I do for spellcraft and sort of in witchcraft in general and like the broader sense. But so I wish there was a cute, easy way to sum that up for the title, for the sake of the title. But I'll kind of get into it. And like I said, it started off kind of light and just like, here's what I like to do, blah, blah, blah. And it ends up kind of more big picture-y. That said, let's do our Patreon shout out segment.
Okay. I'm excited.
So today's Brain in a Car Wash non-topic have an ass is dedicated to Keisha N. And I think it's only right that you do a Guns N' Roses song.
Oh, Keisha N. Oh, Keisha N.
You were already on it. Now do it like Rick Moranis.
Oh, Keisha N.
I can hear the sadness in your voice.
Yes, very sad. Yes.
Cute.
It was only, I was channeling only Seymour.
Yeah. Seymour. God damn it, I gotta watch that movie again. What's your favorite song out of that movie?
Damn. That's tough. You know, that's really tough. I've also not seen that movie in about a decade.
Whoa!
I know. I need to watch it. I want to watch it. Yeah. I need to watch it with you.
Oh God. Poor.
But I need, that's tough. All right. I really like, oh shit. What's like the last big song with Audrey 2? You know,
is it the Mean Green?
I guess.
No, that's the last one.
Yeah.
Supper Time.
Supper Time. It's Supper Time.
I love Supper
hands down. That one's just a fucking groove.
It's a groove, and the fucking background singers are amazing.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
And
yes,
Levi Stubbs' voice is so good.
Oh yeah.
No, I good.
Love it.
It's just I'm with you on that. Anyway, who goes first?
Brooke, what's yours? I gotta know.
It's a tie between Supper Time and you know what? I hate to be fucking basic. I think it's hard to beat Suddenly Seymour.
It is hard to beat Suddenly Seymour. It's hard to beat Skid Row. Skid Row's excellent.
Fucking lit.
And you know, I hated it as a kid, but if I had to pick the one that is after still not seeing this movie and days it's not fresh, the ones that it will snake through my consciousness when I'm just walking around is How Big Enormous 12 is Scream.
Yes.
That one. It's probably that one. And I don't know why, but it's there more than any of the others.
I will regularly put that soundtrack on.
I need to
and just blast through the whole thing, even without having seen the movie.
I'll know all the words.
Oh yeah, I know all the fucking words. And the thing is, I used to think that like Somewhere That's Green was boring. You know, I guess as a kid.
It's a beautifully written song.
But now, if you listen to the words and you think about like her shitty situation, it
her
makes
life.
Me cry. Every time.
It's a very touching song. But I did, as a kid, I was like, this is lame. I want like evil Steve Martin dentist.
Yeah. See, that's where the flip flop happened. When I was a kid, I was hard for the fucking dentist song.
Yeah. Yes.
And now I like it. I still like it. I think it's catchy. I think it's fun, but I don't think it has the emotional depth.
No, it does. It does not. It doesn't.
I found a pussy cat. Okay. Okay, we got to do this episode, man.
I think you go first. I feel like you go first.
Okay. Yeah, I went second, and then we had the spooky sode. So I guess if we just kind of ignore the spooky sode. How are you feeling since the spooky sode?
Fine.
Yeah, great. Good to know. I've
Yeah.
thought a lot about aliens since.
Oh, see, yeah, I haven't, and it's when I do those, it's almost like I just release it because I think a whole lot about aliens when I'm doing the reading and I'm like organizing the notes and putting that topic together, and then it's like I release it out and make it everyone else's problem, and then I just bop right on forwards. And
You just trauma dump,
me.
and then you get to be empty for a little
Yeah,
while.
it's out of me. So it's on all y'all can work it through your systems now.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'll jump in here with this. So everything I said already kind of still stands with just thinking about the way that I approach my craft, especially at this point in my life. Now, I do want to kind of hold on. Let me start over with this. This isn't a crazy long, I think, topic, because a lot of it is going to be like, I want to hear from like you, Macy. Like I'm going to ask, like I've got questions for you here. This is an interactive topic. Okay. And I know we say this a lot, like we're like, hey, reach out to us over on the Facebook Coven and tell us how, but like, I mean it now, like more so than ever. Like, I really want to hear how people approach things. Anyway, that being said, I ended up, So thinking about the way that I approach my craft every day, like especially at this point in my life. And that's kind of when the tunnel shadow work thing started to happen. And when I say shadow work, this isn't by any means going to be like scary or upsetting or anything like that. It just made me think about why I do certain things and why I have to do certain things in a certain way. And I, think that things are certain things, why I think things that I think basically is what I'm trying to say. And it even leads to like a sort of a broader conversation about everyone's experience and how they experience the world and how they think and everything. It kind of wraps up with like things that every person in this world has been going through since, 2019 when the world actually ended or whatever actually happened. So I did my notes, and then I had a little bit of after I kind of read through them and thought about everything, I made a little note up here at the top that I wanted to say. I just said, so I'm writing this after my notes and after I did the majority of denoting what I wanted to talk about. And I just wanted to mark the shift in tone that takes place at the very start of this. It felt very light, and that's where I was coming at it from. It was sort of like, here's what I do. And I want to hear what you do. But by the end of it, it was sort of like trauma. But it's everybody's trauma. Mm-hmm. It's everyone's trauma. It's worldly trauma. So it's shared. So it's okay. Right. But anyway, with all that being said, I did put a little spell at the end. So if you hang out, I whipped up a quick and easy, almost beginner-esque level, like simple cleansing and protection spell. So for a note, I'm not saying that any of this is rule. So when I say the order of operations goes like this, I mean personally for me. When I talked about step thinking earlier, a product of step thinking is being overwhelmed at times. Mm. And when you have that to-do list that's so very long that you end up taking a stress nap instead, or it's like I have so much to do, so I did nothing. Have you ever been stuck in that?
When I'm at my really high anxiety peaks, like when it's just those days, I will stress myself still.
Yeah.
And I don't like, it's weird. Like I don't allow myself to like rest, which is what I should do. I'll just pace. I'll spend an entire day pacing instead to where it's like, I probably should just maybe like take a chill on the couch or, go work out. Oftentimes I can kind of break it by going to work out in the garden now that there's the greenhouse. But like before then I would come to and be like, I've been pacing for 15 minutes.
Exactly. And instead of taking that time to do something a bit more productive, or even realizing that we don't have to be productive all the time. Like you can chill and you can like rest and until that feeling passes and stuff like that. Instead of doing that, I myself find myself, no, I don't usually physically paced because I lock up in a way that is very on the nose. I physically lock up and I just don't move. Like even like I've been locked up in a way before that I needed to like reach a foot to grab my water bottle, but I just didn't. So I just took a nap instead. Like my, you just clamp down so hard, but like
See, yeah.
emotionally, mentally, I am pacing, and I'm thinking, here's the things that you should be doing. Here's the things that you need to be doing. And my therapist calls that shoulding on yourself, which I think is cute. But she's like, don't catch yourself. She's next time you catch yourself shoulding on yourself, you need, blah, 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 or whatever. But when it comes to witchcraft, there's a lot of elements to like just doing a simple, like a spell. And to me, what that looks like is elements of grounding, protection, cleansing, maintaining that spell, offerings, gratitude, opening up, closing down. Right. And then because I do this step thinking thing, I'm like, well, should I cleanse before I ground? Because does that then render the cleansing undone because I wasn't in a grounded headspace to do it? Or should I first ground? And in that case, am I leaving myself open spiritually because I haven't cleansed? Should I cleanse ground just to make sure I do it? You know what I mean? Like it gets to that period. And especially in times of high anxiety, this gets worse, and it gets worse over periods of time. And it leads me to periods of witchcraft inactivity. We have both talked about going through those periods where you just don't feel it. Yeah. You don't feel the spark. You're not feeling you don't have the spirit, as Ian Curtis would say. And it's stressful because you have those feelings of, is this going to come back? I don't know. Am I even a witch? Yada, yada. But this can be different in that, like, I want to do these things. I just don't, I'm so overwhelmed. So then you just kind of don't do anything. Right. So anyway, that I'll kind of come back to that later. So I really sat down and I thought about it. And I was like, if I were to like do a spell, what would I need to do in the order that I need to do it to make myself feel comfortable? So I came together with my perfect little routine, as it were. Okay. So I would start by cleansing my space and myself, ground and meditate. Then I would do gratitude work because I don't do offerings as part of my spell because sometimes that begins to feel sometimes conditional, and that's not
kind
me.
of transactional.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of people do work that way, especially people who work with like saints and stuff like that. It is sort of a transactional experience. But that's not me, and that's not the way that I work. We're all different, blah, blah, blah. So these aren't rules. But then anyway, after that gratitude work, I would then move into spell work. And then I would save protection work as a separate spell, or even something I would do afterwards. And of course, I sprinkle in elements of protection to each spell, but doing like the full ritual. If I were to do that before spell work, it makes me feel a little blocked, if that makes sense. Like I feel like I put these walls up, and then I'm like, I don't know if my shit can get through either. Yeah. It's all a mental thing. But then maintenance, offerings, more gratitude and protection, I scatter throughout the week. So for me, I know that sounds a little helicopterish, a little rigid, but then again, if you are a person that thinks in steps, this can actually help keep you on it. Like having that list put out can make it feel like you've thought it through, and it doesn't feel as big. There's this thing I've said for many, many years. It's like everything feels bigger inside your mind. And those days you're pacing around, you're just like, oh, fuck, I have so much to do. I'm just sweating and stressing. I promise you, dude, if you take out a piece of paper and you write down every little thing that comes to your mind that you feel worried about or you have to do or whatever, the list is going to seem so much shorter once you have it sketched out.
It's a good exercise. That's something that I do on the days that I feel like that's the worst. And I look at it, and then I turn that into a little to-do list, and it gets done. Right. But it's sometimes my brain will chew ahead faster than my rationality. And I just got to be like, no, it's not that big. Each one of these tasks takes like 30 minutes, and there's like 4 of them, Yeah.
And it's like it gets bloated inside of your mind or something because maybe on paper it just says do the dishes, but in your head you're like imagining this dark dungeon just made of dirty dishes, and you're like, I can't do all of this.
It's gonna take 4 hours.
Yeah. There's this funny, I remember she's on YouTube or where I saw her, but she has people write in their like estimation of how long they think chores take without being like, in my experience, it takes 4 hours to clean the bathroom or whatever. She just says, how long do you think it takes to do a load of laundry? And people start dropping their comments, and they're all like 45 minutes, right? So then she'll go do a load of laundry start to finish, and she clocks it, and she's like, that was 15 minutes or whatever, and like minus the machine working time or whatever.
Right. Yeah. The folding and the hanging.
All the active stuff, was 15 minutes or 20 or whatever. And it's just interesting to see all these, because sometimes she does things and she's like, I'm going to unload and then reload the dishwasher. And I'm like, oh, I know that takes 30 minutes. And it takes like 5. And it's just interesting to see how we kind of embellish things like that,
Yeah, especially things we don't want to do.
Oh God, yeah, not wanting to do something tacks on 15 fucking minutes. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but this is not like a cleaning motivation podcast, although maybe it should be. Anyway, so with that in mind, I kind of wanted to ask you, and this will be interesting for somebody who says that they don't necessarily think in steps. When it comes to a spell, it's just any spell, doesn't have to have a name, just any spell. What are your order of operations? Like, what are the things that you like to do in a spell?
So typically, I'm pretty loose aside from a few things that do matter to me. And it depends on the size of what I'm doing, for one. But generally, I want and if it's just like a small like candle magic spell, I want at least the area that I'm doing the spell, which is routinely the kitchen. I want the kitchen clean. And that doesn't mean it's got to be mopped or anything like that, but I don't want clutter. Yeah. I don't want like anything on the tile on the counter. I want them cleaned. I want the space cleaned and swept. And like my workspace clean. Like that's a first for me that matters. And so it's like typically I get that done, and then I craft what it is I'm actually doing. And so when I do spell work, it's because I walked into the kitchen and get hit by a lightning bolt spark. That's like, you have work to do. Yeah. And that's when I do it. And it luckily it's starting to happen more often. I'm feeling more purposeful. And in that moment, it's like a switch flips, and it's like, it's almost like instead of leading with my head, it's like I walk like my heart's chest forward walking. And I go over to my drawer, and then I just start pulling herbs out, and I pull, it just happens. Like I'll read, set aside, read, put back in the drawer, read. And it's like, it just, a theme, will appear. And I like to work with, and like some of my Patreon spells kind of can give an example of this. Like I like to use like 15 herbs in a spell. Like I use a lot. And, because I like to round out a spell, for instance, if I'm doing like a cleansing, like for example, like after a really high stress situation, like, yeah, I'm going to use like calming herbs and whatnot, but I also want to use herbs that bring in joy. And I want to use herbs that will help clean out my asthma. And, so it's like, I like to kind of attack all of the symptoms of the current state of the problem. So I pick all my different herbs and get all of that together. And usually I'll mash them all up in the mortar and pestle, and I make an incense blend out of them. I also use that same blend to roll my candle. But with that incense blend, I then cleanse the space, because it's going to have resins in it. It's going to have cleansing type herbs in it that are going to have the power to lift up a space's energy to clean out any nasties. So it's I double do it that way, because it's like, that's the spell's energy, but it's also the space's energy. And I just feel like it comes. So I actually mix my spell ingredients before the cleanse.
Yeah. It also makes me feel like if these are the herbs on the candle / the herbs in the jar / the herbs that you are burning for smoke, it makes me feel like if we were using all of these in like the same spell, but like in different ways, it's like they know that they're working together to achieve the same purpose.
Yeah. Like assuming It's not easy to rip a hole through reality to get a message through.
Right.
I'm trying to make it very clear. It's like there's multiple methods. There's these very like high vibrational things all coming together. It's in a candle that I'm putting intention in. It's in an incense blend. It's in like even for my offer, which I do leave offerings, but I always leave them with a very, if you want to assist, great. If you don't, please take these offerings and just enjoy yourself. Like it's a real, like, this isn't, if you want to help, awesome, but also respect, you can enjoy this whiskey and tobacco or whatever.
No strings.
No strings. And so that's really a biggie for me. And I'm really kind of loose with it, and sometimes I ground before if I feel like I need to, but usually when I kind of come into it, like I feel that flame turn on, it's because I'm feeling grounded. Like I don't do witchcraft when I feel like, because some people feel very magical when they're like in the higher kind of vibrations. And, of course, to do any witchcraft, you need to be in like, even as like a grounded whatever. But it's like when I feel like my feet are completely just like glued to this planet, that's when I'm going to be the most likely to do it. And so sometimes I will go ground afterwards, or if I'm doing a big boy, like a big ass like home cleanse, because before I even start, I leave offerings for the elements at the directions that are like the corresponding or correlating whatever directions for the elements. Do that, like leave a fairy offering, walk the perimeter, kind of casting a circle. And so it's like, I'll do that first. And so it really just depends, but oftentimes it's all intuitive. I don't plan that much other than like a few set things of like, I want my space clean. I want to make sure that the space is cleansed with the motif of the spell, if possible. Sometimes it's like, I'll just light up a disc and throw some shit on it, and just clean a space out. But other than that, I mean, no, I don't really think about it. I don't think about it too much. I just kind of roll with what my gut wants me to do.
And there's a big element of that for me also. Like I know that I have like planned on doing, like I knew I was going to do a spell with a specific intent. So I would get like these moments of just like being really inspired, and I would make notes of it. I would be like, oh, in this spell, I got to use juniper berries or whatever. Right.
Yeah.
And I would kind of make a note of it so that when I was then putting it together and in that space, I would have these things that I chose in this moment of like being connected and being, having that fire, even though I may not at that point feel like that exactly. Or that makes it sound like I do spell work when I'm not feeling it. That's not.
No, I know what you mean though. You're just kind of working ahead in moment, but it's not a bad thing to do, really. Like it's not a bad idea.
And I in the moment I might feel very led by my gut to do certain things or say certain things, right? But I like to have my little piece of paper that has all the herbs that I want to gather just in case I forget. So that's interesting to see that, because I think at the core of it, you're still operating on this intuitive level.
Yeah, well, and this is the only what's interesting about that, I write my herbs down afterwards. Right. I write my list down after it's made. Because I don't go in with a list. Yeah. And that's when I start getting stressed out. Like if I start doing spell work and I have to, like try to organize, or not even organize, that's not the right word, but like plan, that doesn't work for me. Like I need to walk over to that drawer and I need to let my third eye laser in on what needs to go into it. And then so I don't forget, like if I really put something together that I like, and there's been a lot of blends I've never written down. Mm-hmm. I don't, but it's like, if there's one that I really like, I will go back and write it back down. But generally I've never, I don't think, done a spell hardly at all using like a plan.
Right.
A list or anything like that, because that's when I feel like, for me personally, that's not a comfort. It's a stressor. Yeah. And so it's kind of the opposite thing. Like I seek the comfort in like the self-guidance I guess, because it's like the flow. I like the flow, and I feel like I break it if I pull myself out of it to like look at
And
something else.
and I understand that because I thinking about it, I've written down like what I want to do in spell work and like what herbs I want to do and stuff like that. And I use it for that spell when I'm, feeling it and I have everything gathered and I have that's another thing I'll do. I'll like set things aside because I'll know that like, hey, this is a self-love spell. So I'm probably going to do it Friday. And, I'm going to wait till I feel it on Friday. But on Friday, here's my pile of shit that I'll need. Right. But like, you made me realize I don't ever do that the same way twice. I don't keep these. I mean, I do keep them because I like to keep things, but I don't keep these for reference, these notes that I make. I don't ever come back and I go, oh, I'm doing my self-love spell. I'm going to do the exact same. Sometimes I will do a very similar one, but it's like every spell I do is intuitive in that way that I choose it for the way that I'm feeling that time, but I don't like reference back. That's
it's just a two-parter.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I mean. I think it's cool to like see how other people do things because we're, again, at the core inspired in the same way, but like our humanly bodies operate different to like carry out that purpose, which is cool to me and interesting.
Well, and it fits. And I'm not like, I'm in a program. Sure, this is like a big chunk of what I'm, researching and whatnot. But like, I can't help but like apply like an Ayurvedic lens to it, because it's like it fits my Vata dosha to be.
I was just about to say, is it like a dosha
like
thing?
the wind? Like it's wind and ether or spirit is kind of the two elements of nature that formulate the Vata dosha. And so it's real flowy and kind of spontaneous in that regard of just moving. It's what it controls. Vata controls movement. And I do think you have a fair amount of pitta in you, even though I think you probably are, granted, you seem, as you said, you often test tridoshic, but with pitta, it's very fiery. It's your, Agni is really tied to pitta and whatnot, but like they're very typically organized people.
And that would also
very
make
type
sense.
A listicle type, but also hot people.
That would make sense for me, just interpreting kind of in my own way here. So I could be wrong, but it makes sense to me that it's like, I want to have the things ready for when the fire starts.
Well,
It's like when it starts, it's like, it's fucking go time.
Yeah. And that's just real. It's just a very pitta-y thing to do, to be very planning oriented like that in a lot of ways. And kind of, I don't want to use the word controlling, but you can almost get in your own way sometimes with the need for organization. And that's an aggravated pitta kind of thing to do, but also just like a standard just trait. And again, and like the doshas are like like there's general traits and whatnot. And of course you can be non-pitta and have those, or like everybody has pitta, everybody has kapha, everybody has vata in their bodies. But it's just a trait for that dosha specifically.
And this leads, what you said about kind of getting in the own way type thing, kind of leads into that more shadowy side of this that I was talking about. And it got me thinking about one thing that I think about a lot when I'm feeling low on my magic. And I'm feeling like, I was like, I don't know the last time I like really did a spell. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. And I definitely haven't been upkeeping like a daily thing at all. Like at most I'll like grab an oil and be like, that's all I can do, and when I get like that, something that I think about a lot is how it felt when I started. And of course, some of that is in this sort of, it feels almost like mourning, it's like, oh, I'll never feel that feeling again. But I think that's screwed up because that's kind of like the good part of a relationship, or not the good part, but the beginning part of a relationship.
Like that honeymoon phase.
Yeah. Everything's all goo eyes and like excitement, but like the real true good part of a relationship comes later with like the trust and the knowing, and I think it works the same way with this. You trust yourself, you know yourself, and you kind of, you're educated, and it's more, it's less of that chemical reaction and more of like a partnership, like you and the magic. And, but one thing I did kind of think about I was like, how was it different? Why did I feel differently in the beginning? And I was like, what was my, not just in spell work, but what was my personal overall order of operations for how I learned magic? And the first thing I started with was gratitude work. The very first thing I started with was gratitude work. And that was weird because if you would have asked me, I would have been like, oh, spirit work. I started with spirit work. I've been doing that for so long, blah, blah. But like, truthfully, I remember the feeling of being grateful for things that I had and remember gaining this intense feeling of respect for the things in my life that I may have been overlooking. I remember being in my kitchen once and I was lighting a candle for, I remember at the time I would light a candle and I would say something along the lines of like, I'm lighting this candle for my ancestors and the witches that came before me, something like that. But it was like an honoring candle or like a, like that kind of thing. And I remember doing that and like looking at my stove and just being like, dude, I have a fucking stove. Like, it's not great. Like, it's got there was a huge crack, like half of it was broken, but I was like, I have a way to cook food in my house.
Yeah, you're not having to chop wood and put it, and cook it in a cast iron pot on a freezing ass cold day,
which
outside.
Is fun from time to time to like kind of living history it up and do that kind of thing. But like on a day-to-day basis, I tried to tie everything I was doing back to how this is such a like I was doing laundry and I'm like, what a blessing this would have been 80 years ago, 60 years ago. You know what I mean? Like to just have a machine that'll wash your fucking clothes. So I just remember having these intense bouts of like gratefulness. And then that kind of branched me into the ancestor work. And while I have experience with spirits like before that, and I've believed in spirits and shit like that, it put me down the path of like specifically ancestor work. I did make a note here that every time I wrote spirit or spirit work, it auto-corrected to sports. And I feel like that's just such a like Google was just like, I don't are you saying sports?
Sports? That's awesome.
But anyway, and then that moved me into my first active part of witchcraft, like in an active sense, not just being grateful for things, not just like trying to communicate with spirit, but like the first time you try to like manipulate the fabric of reality.
Yes. It's an intense first experience. Maybe a little scary even.
Oh God.
I was scared.
Yeah. Oh, I was scared as shit.
Yeah.
But I realized in thinking about it, it always revolved around protection. I think a lot of people. That's what my first one was. Yeah. I think a lot of people, it might be protection. It also might be something like manifesting, like, because you might be turning or learning about this kind of stuff because you might be in a dire situation, and you're trying to manifest, I don't know, maybe some money to keep your house or whatever. Right. But I feel like there's these very practical things and mine was protection. And what that looked like at the time was keeping certain people at arm's length. But that's still very much protection. And then I moved into herbal remedies and kind of the protection that offers in a more physical world sense. And then that leads me into today where manifesting is actually something that I am just sort of starting on. I'm just sort of starting to learn about it and how to do it and what it even means and kind of breaking down some stigmas I had about manifestation, because I kind of viewed manifestation as like, please don't come for me. I'm not saying that I actually feel this way, but I had a personal hang up about it because I was like, well, I don't just want to turn to magic anytime I need something, even though what? Pardon? The fuck? Anyway, so I'm trying to like break down that internal like weird wall I had built up there, and it's actually really fucking cool. Yeah, so I know everyone's journey in that way is going to look different, and that's another part of that I'm like looking forward to hearing from you guys and like how you started, like what's the timeline. Macy, you said you started with protection, right? Do you still work that way, or do you feel like you moved into other things as time has moved on?
Oh yeah, I only do protection work once or twice a year now.
See, that's my thing, is it's kind of taken a back seat, and I don't think it should necessarily.
Well, it's a different kind of protection. Like, right. I mean, like, and it's warding. So it's not this, it's like the only reason I do it a couple times a year because I only need to. Yeah. And sure, there might be a little like some little fuzzy that comes running through that needs to go away, you know, or something. It's like, yeah, or like a passerby. That's the thing, because I've changed my opinion. I've changed my opinion on what I want to allow. And that's what the wards are for. And so every time I get spirit activity or fairy activity, which like the other day, here's an example. And this one even got Hunter too, because like when I told him this, he looked at me and he went, no.
I love it when this happens.
And it's over the most mundane shit. So I have been for the past like 6 months or so, been having some issues with my rhomboids in my back. And when I first started opening up my shoulders in yoga, I went way too hard into them too quickly. And they were like weightlifter shoulders that were, I couldn't even raise my arm straight up, like above, you know, like I couldn't put, it was like kind of off at an angle because my shoulder wasn't open enough to put it straight up. And now my upper back is very flexible, but too quickly. I just did what I do, which I'm learning. This program is really helping my like understanding of ego so much. But like I did what I do, and it was just like I put like a weightlifter's mentality on it, and was just like, get strong, get fast, and like immediately pulled both my rhomboids. And so I have this little like little, I call it the rolly ball. It's a little like acupressure little roller that you can just kind of put pressure on sore muscles to kind of like loosen them up a little bit or make them, because like these, I've had them like they'll sometimes tense up, and the only thing that makes them stop being tense and locked up in the back is pressure.
And the kind with the little knives on the little knives.
No.
The little nibs on it.
No, it doesn't have any knobblies. It's just like it's almost like a cue ball set in a base. And it rolls. And so you can like roll it over your body, but I usually just lay it down flat and put like my weight on it.
Yeah.
But I use it and it's getting better. So I haven't used it in a while now, but also I quit using it because of this. And I was using this thing like every other day, and I always put it in the same spot, and it disappeared. And it disappeared.
Betty.
It fucking disappeared. It flat ass disappeared. And I had Hunter looking for it. I looked for it. We pulled the cushions out of the couch. Like, and I always put it in, you know, that place where I have Jorah's painting?
Yes.
In the kitchen. That's always where it is. It's always where it is. We looked there. We looked everywhere. We looked everywhere. And 2 weeks later, and this was like, I want to say that I had given an offering or something like 2 days before, or like soon-ish before. Boom. There it was on the table where it always is. And I looked at it. It was it was like, and a different thing, because this wasn't scary. It was like, you know, but like, you know, when I told you I got out of the shower and there was the weird, creepy, wet swiped handprint on the mirror that I didn't do and nobody did. And I just stood at it. I looked at it for a long time. And this was the same thing, but a different feeling. That one was like a vom feeling. It was angry and also kind of sickly. This one, I just looked at it and I was like, oh, and I just stared at it. And so like Hunter got home later, and I told him, I was like, oh, I found the rolly ball today. And he was like, oh, like, where was it? I was like, it was right there. And he looked at me, he went, no, it wasn't. I was like, yeah. No, it was. And he just kind of looked, and he didn't say anything for a long time. If that tells you how hard we looked for this thing, because it just became weird. We're like, where the fuck is it? And it was exactly where it always is. And he just he looked at me for a good long minute and was like, and it broke him. It just kind of like broke his brain. And I was like, yeah. So it's the fairies. And I think he actually said that it was like him this time that was like, it's the ghosts or the fairies. And I was like, do you see? But I can't remember if it was I had just left an offering or I had been considering. I had done something, but I sure as fuck left an offering again, like right after that happened.
Oh, hell yeah.
But stuff like that. But I'm okay with that because it's the relationship that I've built, you know, like I'm okay with passerbys and I'm okay with elementals. I've had an elemental in my kitchen. I have felt it. And, you know, it's like those are the things that I invite, but it's on my terms. So I don't do sage anymore. Like regardless of like white sage, wild sage, doesn't matter. Like I don't want that level of, I don't want that. I want a more well-rounded, that's like why I cleanse with my spell mixes. And unless it's for banishment, which sometimes it is, That's when I go through and I put everything in there to make it, it's got my angelica root, it's got mullein, it's got everything in there to kick something out. But like typically I just want to cleanse the space of any things that are just that are not worthy of being in the space. And that's all I care about.
Yeah. Unless it's a big boy, then you got to pull out the dragon's blood.
Yeah. And I've even had kind of like grimies hang around for a while. And like I've talked about it before, that I've just observed them. And only a couple times have they gotten out of control. And sometimes usually I can just mentally with my own will be like, all right, after a while, it's like, I'll tolerate you for a minute, but then you have to leave. Because sometimes they just go away, depending on the sea. Plus these woods are weird. You get weird shit out of these woods. And this house is right in the middle of it. So it's a highway of strangeness. And I don't want to turn that tap off at this point.
Yeah. And my thing is, it's like, I don't ever want to like sterilize so completely that I can't talk to spirit anymore. I don't want to accidentally zap off like Uncle so-and-so. Like I don't want that. I'll put up with a little fuzzy every once and again.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would have done that in the beginning. I think that would
no, I didn't for a fact do that. No way. Yeah. Because I was pretty straight and narrow on anti spirit.
That's a fat jack.
Yeah. Wasn't for it. But like, that's why I like resins, because like, I feel like with resins, like they do, and like dragon's blood is one thing, like that's a big, powerful, but like, I feel like they're, generally they're accepted as holy, at a bunch of different religions and traditions and whatnot. And it's just, I see that as a vibrational thing. So it's like, it's almost like the ringing of a bell, to where it's like only things that can't handle that level of like pureness, that high vibration, can't stay. And that's the eliminating factor I want. Like, I don't want to blast through, just like you were saying, and like wipe out a relative. If like Mama Minnie is wanting to like hang out, and she's doing so by knocking on a cabinet to let me know she's here, I'm not going to blast her away with a really, really strong cleansing.
How rude.
Yeah. And again, intention is involved in that, like when I walk through with my juniper, because that's what I use now to cleanse. Like if I'm going to do like a bundle of anything, I use juniper because that's what I feel correct in using. Plus it grows here. And so it's my land. It knows, it understands. I'm getting it from these trees that, they know the deal. They know the agreement.
And what I like to use better. Is if I'm gonna be using smoke, I like to use things that grow here, or I've grown myself, or my mom's grown.
It gives an extra power.
Yeah. Oh Lord, where is my notes? Okay, but with that, I've been thinking a lot about the basics, like how it used to be in the beginning, and how I've grown, and how the little dusties don't freak me out that much anymore, or whatever, right? And especially here, let me get it closer. Okay. Especially here in this recent part of my life, with the sort of uproot and the upheaval of moving and having major changes in my life, and
Tower
a lot of
energy.
A lot of my craft has been put on the back burner, and I realize that now it's almost as if I am starting over. And over the past couple of episodes, I have unintentionally been sort of gearing up to start over again. Like this time with the rebuilding process of doing spell work. And then, I'm sorry. And then one of the recent times when I talked about tea, like just the very basic tea magic, and kind of looking back on that and thinking about it, it was like, the one thing I have an abundance of in my house right now is tea, and I think I lightly mentioned this sort of starting over thing, this aspect of those kind of more, I had to say basic, but like kind of beginner-esque, like light topics. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of realizing it is a lot more personal than I gave it credit for being. I didn't put it together until I thought about like, yo, dude, I have a ton of tea at my house because my mom got me this big like advent calendar of tea for Christmas. And so I've got a ton of it. That's why I was talking about teas, because I wanted to. I thought it was interesting, but also it was sort of like a personal thing, because I've been using a lot of that information in my kitchen making tea for myself. And then with this one, just talking about the beginning, like the step thinking and the like, why do I do these things this way? And anyway, I also know that I am not the only one who has gone through major tower energy over the past year or so. In fact, most of the world has, even if the only thing that has affected you as of late has been the pandemic. That's still an extraordinarily traumatic experience.
Yeah, because it's like a hydra. That's the thing with the pandemic is like, yes, the pandemic was a thing in itself, but with it came a million other legs that also caused problems and just polluted daily life as we knew it.
As daily life became harder and harder for most people, it became harder and harder to deal with just the daily stressors of everyday life, not to mention the huge and horrifying things that come out in the news every day. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say that you could always just deal with that kind of stuff, but it sure as shit makes it a lot harder considering everything that's going on and has been going on. I think a lot of people are in a state of starting over right now. And I kind of want to reframe that and look at it not as like this sad thing or like this, I'm having to start from scratch, but to look at it as like an opportunity. Like how many times do you think to yourself or to someone say like, oh, if I could go back, if I could have known then what I know now, or to get to start over and kind of rework how we treat things in our life with this knowledge that we've gained, to kind of apply that to how we treat our craft and how it treats us in return. It's a little bit of a gift, even though it may feel heavy having to start over and having this feeling of basically starting over. It's humbling. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's good. To get to redo the beginning of our witchcraft journey with all of the information that we hold now and all of the knowledge that we've learned and all the fuck ups that you've had. And when I say you've had, I mean, like we've all had.
Yeah, in general.
And just everything that we've gotten to accumulate, it's, to kind of spruce that up and sort of refurbish that and look at the beginning of things, look at how you do things through like these fresh eyes, and to really just think about the things that we do on a daily basis and why we do them. For me, it was, why do I feel the need that I have to do everything in steps like this? Like, why do I have to have it so planned out? Which then put me on to thinking, well, because I don't feel like I've done it correctly unless I do, which then put me on to thinking like, well, how come in the beginning I didn't have to do that? And you kind of just go down this tunnel. And anyway, to kind of get to start, but not from scratch, is pretty cool. Another reason that I'm interested in seeing other people's perspective on how they approach their craft, because if we can all come together and say, hey, I'm totally the opposite of Charlye, I'm more like Macy, or I'm totally the opposite of Macy, I'm this thing, or I agree with, I have to do things the same way Charlye does, like, to see other people either agreeing or denying, I think that we can kind of garner this universal, what am I trying to say? Like seeing the way everyone can do things and still be valid and still have their witchcraft work, I think can maybe loosen a little bit of the rigidity that comes in, at least in my way, at least in the way that I experience my spellcraft has become a very rigid thing, and therefore has become a thing that I don't really want to do all the time. So I have gone back to the beginning and I'm like, identified where I started, and that was with gratitude work. So I am, for this next week, going to make it a priority to, if I do nothing else, to not push myself to do this spell or this thing that I like to do, or, oh, I know I should be doing this, but to simply try to view the things that I have right now as I have them, as the miracles that they are. A hot shower is a miracle. A flushing toilet is a miracle. And I want to get back to that place. But anyway, so aside from that, please let me know over on Facebook if any of this made sense. But if anyone's kind of feeling this, if anyone feels like they're kind of at this starting over point, or I guess starting over doesn't even it's not the right words.
It's a rebirth.
Yeah, a rebirth. And if that applies to anyone else, because I would like to hear from you. So with all of that said, I do have a little beginner's spell that I hope will take everyone back. Or hey, if you're new to this and this is your first episode or first few episodes and you kind of don't know where to start, this is just a gentle self-cleaning and protection spell that you can do in the bath or in the shower. You will need rosemary. I don't care if it's fresh. I don't care if it's dried. Just get some rosemary. Get some petals of a flower a safe, non-toxic flower, such as rose or hibiscus, but something that is safe and you find to be beautiful. Grab you a bay leaf that you have written the words cleanse and protect on, or however those words manifest to you. It could be, protection, purity, whatever the fuck.
Wash
your ass. Then grab you a candle and inscribe it with, again, cleanse, protect, and wash your ass. And you will need an empty tea bag or a tea infuser or some cheesecloth, like something to put your herbs in so it's not going to go down the drain. So in your bathroom, light the candle and hold the rosemary, flower, and bay in your hand. Tell these ingredients what you're using them for. It can be as simple as saying, rosemary for cleansing and protection, like the old school wishes that you see in Disney movies. They're always saying, like, they're always giving the purpose to the ingredients, which I think is cool because, like, of course they're portraying it as like a spooky witch thing, but at least they got that part right. Like, why do you want that eye of newt? Let's see, cleansing, protection. Then as you're holding your things, just take a little bit of time to focus on the ingredients, focus on their protection and their purification properties. Then you're going to add them to the little tea infuser or whatever you've chosen. Run yourself a nice hot bath and allow those herbs to soak, and then soak your body within them. Let that candle burn down, and when you see the flame, kind of remember what it's doing. Remember its purpose. It's just putting that purpose. It's lighting up the aura of protection around you. It's giving you that clean space. And that's it, man. That's it.
That's a good, I love a simple candle spell.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's nothing. And sometimes these small little spells will reconnect you like nothing else. And, maybe you'll find yourself doing 2 little small spells in a week, and then maybe it's 3, and then maybe it's a larger thing, and then next thing you know, you're Harry Potter. But if you have to do this in the shower, just because I don't currently have like a luxury bathtub, I've got to do my spells in the shower, which is fine. I'm actually okay with that. However, it's a little different for you. Let them herbs soak in some hot water. Maybe a mug, nice hot mug that you steep like a tea. And then let it cool to a non-burning temperature. And then you're just going to step out of the flow of your shower or turn it off and pour that warm liquid over your body, starting at your head. Let it get in your hair. Let it go down your back. Let it get it just all over your fucking feet and just run all over you. And take a moment to allow it to kind of envelop you and to soak into your skin and all that good shit. Do this as often as you feel the need to cleanse and protect yourself. And if you're looking for extra bonus points, like maybe you just boil these items together and then you mix a couple of tablespoons into your bottle of shampoo or into your body wash and just mix it up real good. And that way, every time you take a shower, you've got your little protection and cleansing mixture also in the mix. It's kind of like a daily maintenance.
Yeah.
But that's it for me. That went a lot longer than I had originally.
That's okay. I like these kinds of topics where you can just kind of rock and roll.
Yeah. Ooh, I feel like my brain's in a car wash.
Right?
My soul's in a dishwasher.
Oh, it's a good feeling.
I am ready to hear about this not scam of a rock.
Not scam. Not scam. Different. It's different. Aura quartz.
Oh,
This is something I've noticed it in particular. I feel like more and more the past couple of years, like I've seen an uptick in the aura quartz, and I really have always wondered what it is. Like I knew my gut was telling me that I was like, that's not natural. Like that's not like a natural thing, and it is not. However,
it's not nail
the
polish.
it's not nail polish, and the
Mm.
truth kind of makes it more cool in my mind. And so, to describe the appearance for those who aren't aware, it can sometimes look. It can range in colors depending on the inputs, but sometimes it can look like I don't know if you know what carnival glass is, but it
Mhm.
looks just like carnival glass, just
Mhm.
like carnival glass. But it is like a sometimes opaque rainbow or metallic colored, like a gold coating that really gleams off the quartz, giving like a really beautiful rainbow flash or like a certain color flash appearance on the stone. And so sometimes it's not opaque. Sometimes you can still see through the quartz, and it's and it's a more subtle look to it. And I get into the different types just a little bit down below, or some of the different types. There's a whole bunch. So it is, again, so the truth is it is real quartz. There underneath all of that, there is a real hunk of quartz. So they're not glass, they're not resin, they're not plastic, or at least like they shouldn't be. And they are oftentimes, which I saw that this is something that was kind of interesting, to where clusters of quartz that perhaps aren't as striking, maybe they don't have as many points on them that are like as dynamic or whatever, those will be sometimes set aside to be turned into aura quartz
Whoa.
clusters, because they probably are going to be deemed more valuable in this new form than they would be as just kind of like, I mean, it's elevating them to something more different than just like a very average but not super special looking clear quartz cluster
Talk
that
about a
otherwise might not be
Cinderella
sold.
story.
Right. And the way that this works, so they take a clear quartz, or sometimes like amethyst, rose quartz, like you can use the different colors, but quartz, it seems to be, is the main one here that's used. And it is superheated in a vacuum chamber
Huh.
and infused with these like vaporized minerals or like metals, like such as like gold, titanium,
Oh.
silver, nickel, platinum, these sometimes semi-precious metals. They're permanently fused to the crystal itself.
So,
And
huh.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And so, as essentially, the quartz is maintaining its properties, but it is gaining the properties of whatever metal has been adhered to its surface. And so, like, it's
Ooh.
almost like an alchemical process in a way, right? Like, you have like the two, like these two kind of like things coming together like this, and this kind of alchemical process of like the
All
metal
right.
and the stone being put together. It's kind of cool.
You flipped me.
And it makes something entirely new. So it's no longer just gold, and it's no longer just quartz. It's something else, something new. And this process is called electrostatic bonding. And depending on which minerals are added, you get different varieties of aura quartz. Some of these I'm going to explain below. There's a whole bunch. Like there's all kinds of different colors, and that they vary depending on like what the inputs are. But these are just some of the more popular ones that I saw. And also, this is just kind of an overarching topic of just the general concept of aura quartz. So, because there's all of these different varieties and metals involved, like there's the crystal, like the quartz's individual properties, and also the metal. And if you remember, I spent an entire episode just on copper. So, like, I'm not going to go into all of these different ones because they're kind of their own thing because of like different metals or whatnot are used in different ones. So this is
You
just kind of
can't
like
kill the metal.
you can.
The metal will live on.
It is a lot to talk about. And so I didn't want to cram it in this topic. So this is just telling you what aura quartz is. So when you see it, you're not like pulling the
Scam.
wool over my eyes. Yeah. So these probably could get their own episode though. Anyway, so first we have rainbow aura quartz. So this one, and I have seen it called like one called angel aura quartz, like also called rainbow aura quartz. But like in this case, and in a lot of places, this is the one that is opaque. It's like the one that you were talking about that says it looks like the carnival glass. It looks like oil on water, for lack of
Ooh.
a better that's not great, but like, you know what I mean? Like you can't see through it and it's got the rainbow of color sheen. It looks like something different and it kind of looks fake, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
But
No, it
this is
definitely looks like something that like you gave to like a 6-year-old girl and she like rolled it in glitter and kind of ruined it, but then you have to go, oh, isn't it special? You know, it's kind of what it looks
yeah. Yeah, like you might find it in like a head shop.
like. Oh, yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, in like the
And
girly section of a head shop. Yeah.
right, yeah, by like all the blacklight posters and
Right.
shit. Like that's what it kind of has that look, but it's cool. And the way that this is done is it's titanium specifically that really
Oh,
gives this effect, and the more opaque coating, it seems. So this is still a very high energy stone, and it has strengths in astral work. So that's really where this one can take you. But it being clear quartz, it's still that amplifying type energy. It can work with all, it can help open up your energy centers in your body and balance that out. It's cool for like all of the zodiac signs. It's clear quartz. It's the
shit.
rosemary of crystals, it's like
You're
it's
gonna blast
everybody's.
off.
Yeah, but this has that the bonding and like amplified element of this transformation that it went through with the
Shit.
metals added, which is pretty cool. So you have angel aura quartz. So this is clear quartz that has been bonded with platinum and silver, sometimes gold, or other trace metals, minerals, and it has. It's really pretty, and if you can remember, I believe Kim made. Do you remember that piece that Kim made with the sweet ass hands that we did for that giveaway? And you remember
Yes.
that quartz that
Oh,
had that
hell
awesome? It's like that. It's like the angel aura, and so you could still see through the quartz, but on it is this like pastel kind of, it can be blue or pinks or gold, like this sheen that hits. It's very, very, very lovely. I saw that it can have like a kind of like a silvery look to it, and it kind of can look like angel wings, this effect,
Oh.
this shiny, because I could do imagine angel, like if I had to imagine angel wings, like they would have a rainbow iridescence to them.
No,
I feel
not
like that would be pretty lit.
not like biblically
No,
accurate angels.
I'm talking about like the terrifying angels, but they would have beautiful iridescent wings, but be terrifying.
But just be big wheels of eyeballs.
Yeah, just be super scary monster gargoyles. See, look, I'm watching Midnight Mass right now, so like that's really twisted my view of angels. Um, but anyway, so also a very high vibrational stone. This can be great for angel work if that's your bag. It can benefit, again, it can help benefit and cleanse out your subtle body, your energy centers, all of that jazz, zodiac side, like all your signs are good for it. It can just, it's still clear quartz, right? But this has silver and platinum and these other precious metals that have been bonded to it and have given it this very angelic feel and quality to it. So
Ooh. I was doing an angelic theme
it
song.
was, I could tell. It was nice. I could absolutely tell.
Okay.
Ooh. There's green apple aura quartz.
Cute.
I know it. And this is clear quartz that has been bonded with nickel. So this creates a really vibrant green, yellow green, kind of glossy color, kind of Granny Smith color on the outside. It's cute. And this is a very heart tied blend stone. This is for heart work. If you're wanting to open up the heart, heal the heart after heartbreak or grief, or just help bring the inner just like spark of your heart. Your heart's very important. It helps ties your kind of your lower, more physical like chakras or centers, like, your root and your sacrum. It helps kind of tie those to the higher ones. It's kind of right. It's the gateway kind of right there. And so to take care of it and keep it open, because in keeping it open, you're kind of keeping everything open. And
Dude,
so
I want to eat it. It looks delicious.
I know, doesn't it? Did you look it up?
Yeah, it looks like
I
candy.
know. I want to lick it.
Oh.
Yeah. Real time, like big time green Jolly Rancher.
Oh. Ooh.
I haven't had a Jolly
candy.
Rancher in a minute, man.
You know what? A Jolly Rancher sometimes fucking hits.
It does.
Right.
It absolutely does. I love that. My mouth is watering right now.
Yep.
Talking about that. Yep. I also haven't had sugar in like 6 days. And so it's like, I think that really, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it a lot. So anyway, there is Aqua Aura quartz. So this one's very, very popular. And this is clear quartz that has been bonded with gold. And it produces this really gorgeous, like sky blue color. Sometimes even more vibrant, sometimes maybe like a bright blue, like a neon kind of blue, but it has these subtle flashes of rainbow iridescence or sometimes a gold kind of iridescence and this like pretty aquamarine color to it. It's really pretty. And it has a very calming feel, a very relaxing effect, much like it's soothing. It, very similar to me, like when I was reading the properties, it reminded me of aquamarine in some of its properties. And it can be good to work for the throat and opening the throat or having, opening it up to express oneself better or communicate in a way that they want to communicate and just kind of encouraging one to speak their truth. So something that's neat about Aura quartz, and I've already kind of mentioned it, is that it's altered. It's not just coated; it is altered in a way that's permanent. And like I get maybe you can really try to scratch this stuff off, but if done properly, it's not easy to do because it's like it is bonded to the crystal.
So and when I see it at stores and stuff before this, I always assumed that it was one of those things that it would start to like flake and peel off.
Yeah, no, that does not seem to be the case.
Okay, cool.
Especially if it's sourced legitimately, if you're getting true Aura quartz. So one thing that is important to mention, that in going through this this process that they go through to have the minerals bonded to them, the electrostatic bonding process, it does make them more brittle. So you do want to be a bit more careful with them. Like if you're going to be wearing a pendant that has Aura quartz in it, maybe it's not the one that you get that's super long that you smack off the countertops and off your desk and shit. Like, because I do that really bad with all of my long pendants. I'll just like turn a corner or hit them on counters. It's not good. So it is more brittle. You want to handle them with more care. It's not as stout as your clear quartz that has not been elevated into this new form. So I do like the properties here. And I like that it also gives clear quartz a direction, like, because it is such an open stone with its amplification and its abilities and just its vibration. I feel like this process of altering it with these metals, which are still earthen material, it points the energy of the clear quartz and to something specific, right? Because like all of these varieties were kind of different, and so it's like they change and it kind of, and it's, you can even like layer it even further. Cause again, you can get amethyst, like you can get rainbow aura amethyst or angel aura amethyst and all of these different ones. So it's like, it just adds an extra layer of target, I guess, on the intent of the stone for what you're using it for. I just love I don't know, kind of like the overall, just the metaphor with it. I think it's really neat I do love a metaphor. I like things that involve transformation. And
metaphors. Add it to the list of things Macy likes.
I love a metaphor. I really do. Because I think that there's something easy for the mind to grasp in moments of need. Or at least they are for me. Like metaphors for me have a lot of power when I can kind of craft an explanation or some sort of visual that helps me feel better about what it is that I need to do or what it is I've done or where I am or whatever. And these have undergone a change, and it's a change that is permanent. And I think that that's something really good to think about when we think about our own. And this kind of fits like with you and things that you were talking about, to where like we all go through experiences that change us permanently. Yeah, it's permanent. And this could be physical, whether it's an accident or just things that come through life, or to where you physically don't look the same anymore, and you will never look the way that you did before, or that just comes in general with age, like just, but also just like if something happened and you're transformed physically in a way that the way that you feel like you were before is never going to come back again. Or it's emotional, to where there's emotional things that have happened to where that it changed you in such a way that you're never going to be in a state that you were before it. It's permanent. It's a permanent change. And those leave markings that you can't scratch off. Again, it could be emotional or it could be physical or both. And no matter how hard you wish that you can. But these changes that happen, whether emotional or physical, they're fusions. They're the same kind of thing, to where each edition does change you into something different, but it's also something elevated because it has experience. Everything that happens to you is experience. It's learning whether it be a good or a bad message, and whether that message it might change you forever. However, in doing so, you're elevated into something more, into something stronger, or something deeper and more complex and more sensitive, more aware. All of these things are elevations. They don't have to be seen as bad things, to where only the gaze is behind, to where it's like, I don't have this anymore, or I don't have this carefree naivety, or I don't have this, feeling of remembrance when I look at myself in the mirror, or I don't have this same able to move that I used to move, this change in my body that I don't recognize, all of these things, but they exist because you've been elevated. You've been transformed in a way that is entirely unique. And in doing so, it's changed your spirit in a way, because it's growing. You're continually part of the human experience. If you're alive and if you're breathing, is to experience and to learn and to change and to transform. And oftentimes these transformations come under a lot of heat and a lot of pressure, and it might leave you brittle afterwards. You might not be as strong as you were physically or emotionally after it's over, but I would bet that oftentimes you're going to be emotionally elevated in a way, especially after the shadow work that, again, it seems kind of, we both picked things like that. Like, that's the beauty of the shadow, is that you hear it all the time, and it's kind of a cliche, but like, you need light to have shadow, and you need shadow to have light. Yeah. You can't have one without the other, like they come together. And I think in using tools and using something and being able to hold something, for instance, like a cluster of this aura quartz, it is not as strong as it used to be. If you drop it, it might break. And if you drop a quartz cluster, it probably won't. But it's something different now. And through this process that transformed it physically, it has this new purpose, this new mission, and this new focus, a new identity to exist in. And again, these were pieces that perhaps might not would have sold as well if they were just what they were in their old selves. It was in going through the transformation that they turned into what they needed to be, what they were supposed to be in the first place. And, I like that. And I think in holding something like that in your hands, and you can remember whatever it is that you feel that causes you to not have that feeling of whatever you used to have. The process before whatever the version was before whatever the transformation was. I think in holding something that you can see that even after this transformation to where, yes, maybe it was physically altered in a way, it also was turned into something new. And that has an immense purpose for all kinds of things, and different situations can cause different ones, just like you have these different inputs, the different metals that go on this clear quartz to turn them into different things. Different inputs are going to give you your own sheen on the outside and on the inside. And that's okay. That's special. That's part of being alive and living this life. And it's going to give you knowledge and understanding and reference and just survival, the pride in knowing that you made it, that you overcame and survived. That's the higher elevation. That's the target, the focusing of the energy. And so I really, that kind of just came to me. And I think that's where these could be really beneficial. I think that if you do feel that you're having a hard time coping with who you are or what you look like or how you feel or things like that, it can help change the perspective and maybe shift the gaze forward instead of backwards, because that's a hard place to be in, looking backwards. And it's an easy place to be because change sucks.
Yeah.
It's terrible, especially change that you didn't ask for. It's something that you didn't want, and it's something that is just happening seemingly without your permission. But survival is a badge of honor, and it should always be a badge of honor. And everybody has had to survive in a whole bunch of different ways, and everybody is marked in their own different ways with their own different metals attached on the outside. But I mean, it's not too dissimilar from the diamond in the rough, but it's the same thing. Like, this was something standard, perhaps if you want to use the word pure, that was altered. And, no, it's not pure quartz anymore. But these inputs that have been put on it are still useful in a way. They made it something special. And I just think it can be a good way to think about things that don't feel fair, because that's a hard road to walk. And I have those things myself, to where if I start just getting in a loop of that I don't think was fair that happened to me, it helps to have a reminder to remember, though, I changed this way because of it, and I turned into this special creation through surviving, through adapting, and through growing from it. And if you can have that reminder, which it's hard to forget because we don't pat ourselves on the back very often, when we get through things. I think you get through situations and then you're like, all right, I'm through it. I don't want to even think about that anymore.
Yeah.
And when in reality, it's worth taking the time to be like, look at how many miles you traveled and look at what alchemical process happened to you during it, and take a moment to appreciate this new skin that you're wearing, that no, maybe it can't be scraped off and it's never going to look the same and it's never going to be back the way it was again. It's pretty beautiful and it's unique and it's powerful and it's elevated with these inputs that make you specifically you and give you your purpose. So I don't know. That's my flip on Angel or on Aura Quartz, because it really, it changed for me. And I think it could be an excellent spiritual reminder, and it's excellent for spiritual rebirth, like what you were talking about, because we're always going through phases of rebirth in our lives. And when things happen to us that completely alter the trajectory of your life, rebirth has to happen. We live and die so many times in this life. And it's kind of like in seeing beauty in the death card, and things like that. I think this, with Aura Quartz, you can see the beauty in the scars and the rebirth and what it took to rebirth and things like that. And I'm really fond of it. And I want to get some for those moments when I feel the gaze shifting backwards instead of forwards.
Mm. I've successfully been flipped myself to the point where I'm like, you know what? I think like a good hunk of that somewhere that you see every day would probably be helpful, maybe even in places where you have these struggles, maybe it's in your closet where you have mirrors and you have that struggle of getting dressed every day because things don't look this or whatever, right? That I think that would be helpful to have, to be like, hey, I'm also here and I've also went through some shit and look at me, I'm kind of cool looking.
Yeah, I'm special. And like what I love too is that I like that it's brittle afterwards.
Right.
And that's what really changed me. So, and what really spiritually just made me feel it so much is that it's technically structurally altered too, but it's still elevated. It's still turned into something totally different and totally unique. Yeah. And like every one looks different. Every sheen is unique. And I don't know, just the fact that it is more brittle at the end. I like it. And I think it's just part of life. We become more brittle throughout life. It's just part of aging.
What happens?
And yeah, it just happens. But it's this brittleness of being like, yes, I got more brittle, but look how special I am. And it's an unapologetic gleam that I think is important to remember. It's like, yes, this happened. Yes, I'm perhaps structurally different. I'm not the same as I was, but look at me now. And that is important.
If you'll forgive the metaphor here, I just kept thinking, I'm like, it's sort of like in a video game or like a game of D&D, like when you just get your shit rocked by something, it's like you still get that XP though.
Yeah, and you might level up.
Yeah.
And so I mean, that's the thing, like it's a lighthearted kind of way to put it, but it's true. It's true. So anyway, I feel like this was a very emotional episode in a way.
I think so too. And dude, I was gonna say, I know we joke about this a lot. I know we're like, oh, our topic again, we picked topics that go together. But this one felt almost like a spiritually divined episode.
It does. Yeah, it really does. Like, and it just, I'm also very sensitive right now. I'm in the very emotional part of this cleanse, but it does. It felt like I don't know why I picked this topic today.
Yeah.
Or like, I didn't pick it today, but like I picked it like a couple days ago and like, it started being like, well, that could do. But like, I really started, I wrapped it up because like my school ran long. So I wrapped it up yesterday, so like I didn't have the weekend. So I did it yesterday. I was like, what is today? Is today Tuesday? Yeah. And so I wrapped it up yesterday. And so it's like, I've just kind of had it in this elevated and I don't know, but yeah, they do. And when you were talking, I was just like, man, like these feel like a good pair together.
Well, you know what? I feel like we started a little silly, but I think we wrapped up, you know what? This episode flipped, like my opinion on Aura Quartz flipped.
Hey, me too. And my brain feels clean, believe it or not.
Hey, that's true.
I realized like in talking, like I'm sharp. I feel actually very clean.
You feel a little grounded? Feel kind of back to your...
Yeah, the rinse cycle ended.
The exceptionally long chime went off that tells you that shit's done. Dude, is it you that said that your dryer or your washer has like a 20-minute chime on the end of it?
Yeah, and I whistle it every time. I know all of it. It's a Samsung. All of the Samsungs. I can whistle it right now for you if you need me to.
I very recently got a washer and dryer set and I'm blown away every single time about how long...
About 30 seconds.
That thing goes on.
Oh, I
Such a
love it.
happy little tune.
It's happy to work. It's happy
Yeah.
to show up. It's happy to work. It's
Ah.
happy to be there and to be present. If we could all be that washing machine.
If we could all be, because when I hear that chime, I know it, I feel bad now because it's such a happy little dude, and my first reaction is fuck. Now I gotta
See. It always makes me happy. I'm. It's amazing, but it does. I hear it, and I can't help. If I do hear it when it goes off, I whistle it. I can't not.
Well,
I've done it ever since I got him in the apartment.
I'm gonna try to
just can't help it.
rephrase or rephrase how I look at that.
Wow,
man. That's all I got. I feel pretty wrung out.
I do too. I do too. I feel like I need to go. I don't know, outside.
You might need sustenance.
Well, I had lunch, but I had an early lunch too. I usually eat lunch at 1, but I eat lunch at like 11:30 because I had breakfast at like 6. So my whole schedule's rocked, and I'm also adding stuff back in now, and so my body is like, ooh, flavor, and so that's a whole thing. I could eat more. But I do feel like if I went and like ate a steak finger basket right now, I might go into shock.
Yeah. You would immediately shit out the fully formed steak finger basket.
Yeah, my body would reject it. It'd be like, just no, slide this right through. We're not doing
it all
this.
the way through.
Yeah, yeah, express lane. No, it would not work. But I just feel like also the salt, the flavor of it would just rock me.
Ooh, flavor. I hope everybody's okay. The southern storm that blew through. In fact, as we're recording this,
it's blowing through like Louisiana and
it's still going on. Yeah,
like Alabama. I think all that right now.
We don't fully know the full extent of everything that happened, but anyway, if everybody's okay, check in with your friends and your loved ones. And
tornadoes abound. It is springtime. So everybody hunker. I do. The first thing I did this morning was walk out to see if the greenhouse was still there.
And it was.
It was still there. And I was like, not even harmed. Either.
I cannot wrap my head around that.
Because like when I was washing my face last night, I could hear it because like the bathroom window faces out towards it. I could hear the frame creaking in the wind. Like I could hear it just like, it was like creaking every time because it was like 30+ mile-an-hour gusts for like 12 straight hours.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I know that plastic is going to be in 1,000 pieces and that frame might be bent to all hell. And I walked out and it was totally fine. And all the plants were all lush and gorgeous. And I was just like, man, it was a gratitude. And again, I'm very emotional and in like this high kind of place on this like cleanse of my body. And so I just so great. It was just like, I have this greenhouse full of all of these greens and all of this food. And it was just like a whole moment.
Listen, that's the gratitude we need to get to, that cry your eyes out because you saw like your salt and pepper shakers. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, I know. And it's a beautiful way to live. It's a really beautiful way to live. And I think it's a happier way to live.
Even though you're crying, not all tears. What's he say in Lord of the Rings? Not all tears are an evil.
An evil?
Isn't that what he says? Not all tears are an evil?
I don't remember. That seems like a strong. I would never think that all tears are an evil.
You heard it here first, folks. All ears are evil. Merch. Goodbye.
Alrighty.